Welcome to episode 259 of the Emergent Gamer Podcast. I'm here with Neo.
Hey, how you doing?
And I'm also here with Trip.
What's up, guys? It's Trip Zero.
And my name is Felix Hergood.
Beautiful. That was perfect. So good, dude.
I was trying to be
good.
really careful. You could tell, like I was literally walking my words across a tightrope suspended between two buildings.
Every syllable.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah. And I didn't fall.
It's incredible.
I didn't fall.
No,
Nailed it.
I'm proud as fuck, man. That was great. You did great work.
So the point of this week's episode, if you want to tune out now, is pretty much going to be a lot of Ubisoft talk. So if you are not,
don't tune out. We want you to tune in.
We want you to listen, but we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about my love of Ubisoft games and my hate of Ubisoft games. But we're going to be talking about Ubisoft games. So if you are not a fan of that, stick around. Maybe I'll make you a fan.
Now that's an endorsement you can count on.
We make you a fucking fan.
But yeah, because Ubisoft had their Ubisoft Forward event. Which is this the first year they did this? Is this like
it is?
Because they're branding it based on the COVID thing. Like this is where we're going in the future.
I feel like this would have happened regardless because E3 was kind of dying, and like
exactly.
I know everyone
was canceled.
E3 likes to use the virus as an excuse, but they wouldn't have existed this year regardless of COVID-19 or not.
But
E3 was on the way out for a long time.
Despite their weird behaviors, which we'll talk about in terms of the news points that happened right before the event. It also might point to Ubisoft Forward, like they're trying to like brand manage themselves, like in the scope of like I'm gonna fuck his name up, Ashraf Ismail, leaving due to the gaming thing and all that shit that happened with like the Me Too gaming that we talked about a couple episodes back.
Right.
It seems like the term forward, like Ubisoft Forward, like forward, it's a double entendre. Like this is our stuff that's coming out soon, but also this is the new direction we're going, and we're going to try not to be a shitty company. And there's some evidence that came out that they're on paper that they're trying to show that, right, Neo?
Yes.
It sounds like the bare minimum so far.
Bare minimum, yeah.
But yeah, it does. It is coming off like it's fucking like a corporate decision.
Yeah, but again, like all these gaming companies, like Ubisoft, regardless of them, all these companies are navigating this year that we've had to deal with because they cannot operate in their normal parameters that they've been used to for years, right?
Right.
E3 was canceled, so now they have to go, okay, how can we showcase our games and continue to make money for this holiday with our products and still demonstrate it in the same fashion that we used to and at throughout the prior years. Like they're all trying to re-navigate what it means to show off, like give like these press conferences.
I'm not a business person, right? I do dabble in stocks, and I view marketplaces.
What an intro on a gaming podcast,
right? But like I
know you're all here usually for my business opinions, but I'm going to digress for a second.
But I just want to qualify that I have 0 business degrees, but I do dabble in stocks and things like that. But the statement I'm going to make should be carefully managed or analyzed. But God damn it, I lost my fucking train of thought.
You built it up. You spent
I built
too
it up
long
and lost my train of thought. No, it's going to come back. I don't think that a video game company is the type of industry that's most affected negatively by the COVID-19 virus. I'm not looking at their fucking sales sheets. I'm not looking at, how much they were in the black or the red for this past season. Yeah, they got pushed back, but people are still playing games on a regular damn basis.
Well, let's look at it this way. I know we're kind of like jumping ahead of ourselves, but they've had to, like, all these companies have had to restructure their workflow because now they can't go into their offices, they can't be in the same conference rooms and meetings. They have to do all the design, the art, the modeling, the textures, the communication between different not stations, different
Just like
section,
teams that work on
different
stuff.
teams
Yeah.
exactly that work on these games, and they have to collaborate from home now, and that is, I'm sure that's not an easy thing to do. Like this is all these companies are doing this.
So
and
it's a work supply chain that they're having an issue, like getting work
Sure.
out of people that's productive work, probably.
And funny enough, I've also added an article that we might talk about. We might get to it, but it came out that Sony is upping their production of the PlayStation 5 by like twofold to try and meet expectations this holiday. And like how they do that and the challenges that they're going to have to go through are probably many because of our current situation.
It's true.
But, yeah. Do we want to?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Should we do a little recap, a little weekly recap, a little catch up?
Do it. Who wants
Yeah.
to go first? Yeah.
I mean, I'll rip it. As you guys know, because we talked about it last week, especially with me being hot on the end of Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2 being released, I've been diving into that, and I am another week and a half roughly into that game, and I'm having an amazing time. It's wild, dude.
Have you checked the save file? Like, how many hours have you put in yet?
I haven't, but I've roughly, if I started at Monday, it's 20.
Damn, you're 20 hours in.
Oh, so
hours in.
you've hit the changeover then. You've hit
Yes.
you've hit that moment where you went.
What I think it is, it happened last night.
Cool. Where you were like, "What the fuck, dude? Really? This is happening?" Okay.
And he hit last night. He hit a very pivotal moment in the game.
You were watching in the stream.
Wait, is that the same thing he's talking about, Neo?
Which thing?
Because Felix talking about this flip, this like pivot in the entire game. Did I
Yes,
experience that based on
you experienced it? Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I hope that's not too spoiler to say.
No. I'm fine with it totally.
Yeah, and you're definitely not anywhere close to the end. I'll tell you that.
Nope.
Oh, cool. So I'm not gonna finish it in the next stream.
Yeah, that's why you were asking me in your stream last
Not
night, like
15 hours. No way.
how many more streams do I have? And I'm like,
20 hours. 20 hours. You said.
Right.
At your
20 hours.
current rate, you might have like another week or two, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's just say
Yeah.
you did 20 hours so far. He did 23 hours total. I did 28 hours total. And I think you and I play these types of games a little bit differently.
I'm someone who will walk every single walkable area of a map before I leave. Or
Yeah.
I will at least try to. Like I will mentally kind of segment out where I'm going and like make sure I sweep everything as much as I can.
Yeah, you're like me. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of curtailed that a little bit last night because I realized that like with the potential of Ghost of Tsushima coming out, that I might need to get onto this game to play it. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Oh yeah, we will.
I'm like way behind schedule because like the how long to beat page does say like 23-ish, 24 hours for like main story.
Has the exploration paid off for you?
Oh, dude, 100%. Exploration in these games always pays off. You get more ammo, you get more
Materials.
weapons.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new mechanic in this game where you don't pick randomly of skills to upgrade with your pills. Obviously, you have to find manuals to allow new upgrade paths, and you have to kind of go down those paths linearly, but finding more manuals lets you kind of still diversify your build a little bit. And so like exploring has found more manuals and stuff. So yeah, it's 100% worth it. I'll probably still play relatively the same, but I do have the goal of speeding up my run a little bit more because there is a fuck ton of just time spent walking around where nothing happens. Also,
The game is way longer than you expect it to be. I'll tell you.
Oh,
that.
it's so much longer. A gigantic time sink was also. I don't know if I want to go into this too much actually, because I don't really want to.
Is it spoilery? Spoilery?
It could be. There's a new enemy type. Obviously, there's it's a new game. There's gonna be new enemy types, but this one's not a zombie enemy type. A little companion enemy type for squads that are looking for you. Ones that are fast and can smell you.
That's been all over like the news and stuff.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm completely.
I don't want to
confused.
kill the dogs.
He's talking about the dogs.
Oh, that's not a
hate killing
spoiler.
dogs.
We talked about that in the last episode.
I'm just, for me, I'm like, don't tell me anything about a game. So I'm trying to like align somewhere in the middle of that versus like spoilers and shit. I don't know, man. I feel like they force you into these situations, and like you really effectively can't get around an area without killing a dog. And I tried. I I can say I got through an area without killing one, and I definitely got pulled into it when I was like trying to fight there with melees and stuff, and it wasn't ideal. But I spent a really, really, really big chunk of my stream like dying repeatedly, intentionally almost, because like I knew I didn't want to kill a dog in my playthrough. I wanted to try to get through and sneak through, you know, like so much so that I missed out on searching and finding things because I wasn't clearing areas. I was just trying to sneak fully all the way through and not have to face a dog, or at least escape from it if I could, you know, make it lose the scent, throw the brick to like distract it, stuff like that. Like it was a fun and engaging way to play.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that added to a lot of my playtime. But I just feel like there are some points where it becomes so hard to avoid, nearly impossible, including there's one cutscene where they literally make you. Like you open a door and it like rushes at you. I don't think games need to kind of push that on you.
Mean,
like
you could tell they're doing it on purpose. Like they want you to be threatened by it, and including the scene that you're referring to about the forcing part.
There are no bad dogs. There are bad owners, but you are punishing the dogs in this game. Not a fan.
If I may,
go ahead.
Sorry, if I may, my whole method for that those sections was completely cold heart. Stone cold killer. I don't care. I'm just going from point A to point B. I just did it. And I turned off my heart and I was like, they're pixels, man. They're just pixels on a screen. Let's go.
I did it the worst possible way. I used bombs.
Oh man, I used an arrow. I used arrows.
He's like, I fucking hate you, Felix. I fucking hate you. No, seriously. I think the general theme of all of this is punishment. The general theme of this whole game, and the people who. And this doesn't spoil a thing, but the people who walk away from that game not enjoying it are people who broke under the punishment of it. And that's like, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing if that happened to you, but the fucking decisions that the game developers made in that game, and I didn't even play it on the hardest difficulty. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like on the hardest difficulty. I have no idea.
Brutal.
It's brutal. Like they made brutal decisions in that, and that could probably trigger the shit out of a lot of people who normally play games that are less. Like this game is dark as fuck, and it's like violent as fuck, and then you also have to make decisions that compromise you as a gamer, and I don't even want to clarify that because that's going to
compromise you as a human being with feelings.
Yeah, like it conflicts you as a gamer when you play this game. But it's very transgressive in that respect, and you know, very very extreme summary of the spoiler cast we did. I felt that I loved it because it took the chance to be a more transgressive experience.
Mid plug, by the way, we did do a spoiler cast with Doc Prefect, and Trip, you should listen to it when you're done the game because it is. We had a really great
Doc
conversation.
had some
Please
great
check
thoughts,
it out on
man.
YouTube. Yeah, check it out on YouTube and our podcast services. That is live currently. So please, go ahead and listen to that. Whoever's out there.
He has an experience in film editing, and he had a lot to bring. You know, he edits motion pictures right now for a living. That's what he does. So he had a lot to bring to the table.
He was first time meeting a man. He was great.
Yeah,
really great guy. Yeah. Really I would love to have him back.
I've known him since college, dude, man. You should have seen him back in the day. It was so much fun.
Sorry, Trip. What else?
I think that's kind of all that I would want to go in at this point, because like obviously to go in any deeper would be pretty spoiler intense in terms of how the game is structured. We don't want to skip that. Just I've been having a lot of fun, and
I do want to unleash you at some point when you can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna get all caught up on it. Absolutely. It just the game offers so much more than the first one did in terms of like game mechanics, areas to explore, story, writing, acting. Literally length, creativity in areas and environmental puzzles, having so much fun with the rope, figuring out like where the rope goes. There are some things that bug me a little bit about the rope situation. Like there was one moment where I had like
truly obvious, right? It's like always kind of like
some are dumb obvious, and some, at least to me, I see the solution, but it's not what the game wants. So either it throws me off the path, or it makes me like waste a fuck ton of time trying to do it their way. Not a huge fan of that. Like conceptually, the thing I want to do would get the same job done, but like it wasn't the spot it wanted me to throw the rope at. And I'm like,
dude, Dude,
Bro.
fucking Druckmann is so guilty of that. Like every one of the Uncharted games did that. Like there was always
Yeah,
this better decision.
This is Felix bringing
What?
your name into this. Don't look at me.
Yeah,
I
but
was addressing our friend Neil, who is gonna
He's a good-
put a restraining order out on our show one day because you keep mentioning his name.
he's a good
I will
dude.
let him know where it's coming from.
He's a good dude. But the overall team design of this is quite often that. Like,
Yeah.
I know if I did it that way, you motherfucker, I would get the result. But instead, you
Like there's a
you,
metal
you
pole,
fucked, you
I
fucked
throw
me
the
on
road
that
over,
result.
It's like I can
Yeah.
climb it up.
Yeah.
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 That's the only nitpicky thing.
So
Other than that,
frequent.
it's fun as shit. So more of that to come tomorrow. Obviously, we'll be playing some more, and then my next week, obviously Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I'll probably take all week to finish it. I'm guessing based on my pace, unless I speed up a little bit and clear some stuff out. But we'll see. It's been a fun ride. I'll be sad when it's over. It's a lot of fun.
You will be.
Oh,
You will be sad.
sad, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well then, Felix, what's up?
Oh, me. Okay.
Yeah, you, buddy. You.
Okay. So I haven't streamed at all, dudes. My schedule now has.
I've noticed. Yeah.
My schedule now has flipped to, my work schedule, my actual job schedule, not my stream schedule. My work schedule is flipped to where every single shift, like I had a set availability at work, not an availability, but a preferred time to start on 2 days a week. So I had Tuesday and Thursday, 12 to 9. The workplace that I'm in, due to exposure limitations with COVID, potential COVID or whatever, they've limited the office hours to 9 to 6, right? So that's my job. The latest I start is 10 to 7. So in other words, they're not honoring an original availability request or a preferred scheduling request that I had before because they can't. And I'm not blaming them for it. It's just what fucking facts, and I'm fine. But now I'm at this point where, and days off have always been dedicated to helping Mrs. Felix resolve issues around the condo. So quite frequently, the days that I streamed were the days that I could, like, before my job, I would literally have these extra long Tuesdays and Thursdays where I would start at like 7:38 in the morning and then stream until 11:30 and then go to my job at 12 and then get off my job at 9. Like that was my day. And I'd do that twice out of the week. Well, now I'm to the point where I don't have those anymore. And then the days that I'm legitimately off, the 2 days of the week that I'm legitimately off from the job, are devoted to cleaning up condos and driving places with her cats and things like that. So I'm to the point now where I haven't been back to stream at all. And it's like, I have no explanation for it other than literally because of this disease, I don't have my time slot in the morning anymore.
Right.
And I don't know what you guys think I should do. Like, the problem with night streams is by the time I get done my job, I'm so tired, I don't feel like entertaining an audience. That's the thing.
Sure.
When I wake up in the morning full of energy, I feel like I want to entertain an audience, right? But I don't, like, my stream, even if I do, like, if I negotiate with Mrs. Felix and I say Tuesdays and Thursdays, or my days off are the days I'm going to stream, whatever days those are, and they're random every week, right? But even if I say that to Mrs. Felix, even if I say I'll stream in the morning and help you in the afternoon, after a long stream, I'm shot. I would go from like 8 in the morning to 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then afterwards immediately nap. I would nap from like 2 or 3 until like 6. So it's like, dude, man, like I can't figure out how to get this stream back. Like I don't know what to do. So I just thought I'd drop some advice for you guys, or ask advice of you guys.
For the most part, any stream ever is going to be about carving the time out of your life, and it's not going to be easy, especially if you have to like kind of shift everything around, which is kind of what I went through a couple months back. Like I went from streaming every day to now essentially streaming after work on 3 days during the week.
Yeah.
And like that was an adjustment for sure, but it was all about finding the times that worked with the work schedule, work with your mental health schedule, work with like the times that you're awake, aware, entertaining, and it's all about shifting things around in your life to make your priorities happen. So if your priority is streaming, you'll have to cut some other things out of your life to make up, for that time.
Right.
Obviously, like, you shouldn't make people in your life suffer if they're counting on you. Like you mentioned, there are days where you help Mrs. Felix out. That's a priority, obviously. I'm always a fan of like creating this like hierarchy of importance and of needs, at least in my brain, and figuring out like what has to be where, and then where can things be shifted? Where can I make this other stuff work the best? And I think that would be a good exercise for you to figure out, when that should be. And if it's early or at night, I think if the stream is the most important over, I know you prefer mornings, but like if the goal is to stream, maybe you just kind of try to readjust the nights.
I should just do some evening streams just for now, just to keep the momentum going.
Yeah,
you can always test a night or two, see how that makes you feel.
I always had, when I was streaming in the morning regularly, I always had an occasional evening stream that I would do. I used to call it the night shift with Felix, and I would open it by playing that song by the Commodores, Night Shift. It's like my favorite.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
nope.
Can't do that at all. but yeah, so like I don't know. I'll get back to it. Maybe that's a good advice. Like just to stream a couple nights a week and just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, just try it out. See how you feel about it. See how the response is. Because obviously, like, your happiness while you stream is important. If you don't feel happy while you're doing it, you're not going to want to do it. And if the time of day affects that, then that's part of your decision-making process. You have to know how you respond to that.
Cool. I just wanted to bring that up to you guys to see what you thought.
Yeah.
Pushing. All I'm doing is legendary run in Fallout. The problem with Fallout is turning into Destiny, and I'm starting to get pissed at it. Because basically it's literally
Just
like, I got to do my dailies, got to do my dailies, got to do my dailies, got to do my
Welcome
dailies.
to MMO live service games.
So every day I'm doing got to do my dailies. I canceled Fallout 76 subscription, which will expire in November on the on the PlayStation. Obviously, I didn't quit on the fucking Xbox. I canceled it on the PlayStation, and I renewed Elder Scrolls Online on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And I'm back at that. So, if I come back live streaming, I'll probably be playing Elder Scrolls, and then any of these other story-based games that I can fit in terms of time.
Sure.
I was trying to think of something related to Fallout, but I can't remember what it was. Something that happened. I thought of it earlier that I was going to bring it up, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really that important.
Okay.
What the fuck was it? No, I guess it's not really that important. But
if you think of it,
I just want to dig into the new. Eventually, get to the point where I can dig into like some of the DLC content for Elder Scrolls that takes you to like some of the more familiar terrains, like Skyrim. Skyrim's like now been added. The majority of Riften was always in the game. Like you could go to Riften like if you had like just the standard non-DLC version of the game. That was the only portion of Skyrim that existed in ESO. The rest,
I guess that city existed in whatever year or era.
No. It's what they've given you of Skyrim so far. It's like segmented. Like eventually.
What I'm saying is like that city exists in the time frame that ESO takes place in, because this is like thousands of years before.
It's thousands of years before, and I don't know if they're fine tuning it that closely. I mean, I think all the cities that exists in Skyrim as you play them, from the Elder Scrolls 5, I think they all existed thousands of years ago. I haven't explored the full of Skyrim's map to know if that's true. But remember, a lot of these cities were forged with Dwemer architecture. So many of them existed when the Dwemer existed, and then civilizations, the Nords, built on top of extant Dwemer shit. Yeah. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if some version of these, like Windhelm and whatever is what you play. I think you can go to Windhelm before this new Skyrim DLC. But now the Skyrim DLC that came out, because I think you told me, Trip Zero, that your favorite city in Skyrim is Solitude. Am I right?
Yes.
That's accurate. So
Solitude, dude.
Even though the MMO aspect of this playing a version of Elder Scrolls is not something you're into, and I'm not trying to sell this game to you, but
Sure.
like,
Well, we tried it. We played it together for a little bit on the Xbox.
what I was going to say to you is the new DLC would fascinate you because it's their interpretation of Solitude couple thousand years prior.
I think I have popped into some streams. I think it was actually shout out to our buddy KJ Lewis. I think I was watching him play it one day, and he was in Solitude, and I was like, "Oh my god, dude, I love seeing the city right now."
So that was recent. So he was playing that recent, because that's the one that's out right now.
Yeah, I think he played it when it came out, when the expansion came out.
Dude, I'm super fucking behind. Like, I don't want to play it. This is how bad I am, and you're both going to tell me that this is not how you play an MMO, but like, I'm fine with it. First off, I don't play an MMO with other people. I play it entirely by myself, and I'm going for the collectibles and all that shit alone. And and secondly, I'm also not wanting to play any of the DLC shit until I actually finish the core story stuff, which I haven't even finished. And I'm like, dude, my character's almost level 100. This isn't very high, but I'm almost level 100 champion level, which is the post 50 leveling system, like the legendary leveling system that they have in this. So my character is a really high level character, but I'm literally still playing like early story quest shit. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Is there a list of like objectives or things that you can do solo? Can you do everything solo?
They added this thing that I think, and this was like last year at some point, but I'm pretty sure this was added for them realizing that their entire, or not entire, but like a large portion of the database of people that are playing their game, they realized are single player players.
Right.
Like I guess they're tracking the hours that a person clocks with a group and how many hours they clock without a group. And they added this really cool thing that I mentioned many shows ago called the Zone Guide. And the Zone Guide is a checklist for each fucking section of the game, like Deshaun, fucking Stone Falls, like all the different sections. When you go to the Zone Guide, you hold down the X button to then like go to the story of that section. So you can literally, the Zone Guide will guide you to the next quest. You don't have to go looking around the map for where the icon is. And then there's all these checkboxes for single player experience type stuff. Some of them are like complete this public dungeon, and you might need friends for that. Or the boss fights, you definitely need friends for. But a lot of it is like catch 3 fish. I'm not doing that with other people. These are rare fish. You catch them and you spend hours alone doing that. Like other things are like, find all of these shards that give you like level up points, skill points and shit. Like find those around the world. I'm not doing that with somebody else. Like that, the only thing you really do with other people in this MMO are dungeons, if you want to gain experience. And that's it. That's pretty much it. This is primarily a single player story.
Are there things like
in an MMO world?
You mentioned dungeons. Are there things like raids or really kind of
they're
specific or challenging multi-person content?
12 or 16 person, I can't remember, raids. They might go bigger than that, but the last I saw it was like 12 to 16. And like, but I don't play any of those. Like they're not on the checklist. That's the thing that's crazy about the Zone Guides. Like these raids and dungeon finding shit are all external to the zone checklist. So it's like they built this system or this like way of interpreting the world from a single player perspective, which points to me like they read their own data and realized that a lot of people are playing this game without other people,
Right.
Which is interesting to me because when you hear MMO, you think I'm raiding and playing with other people all the time. Like that's what you guys do in Final Fantasy 14. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's that. I mean, any kind of massive, like you just said, organized
but when
game.
When you come in,
the content.
When you come in to do that, is your primary motivation to do that to level up so you can unlock a special type of gear or a type of like armor set or?
So usually when you do the raids to get gear for yourself. You're taking a chance actually. Like you're mostly competing with the other people unless you're like all right, there's a lot of ways that people used to do this. Back in the old WoW days, you would finish a raid, and then the guild leader or the raid leader would go, okay, so which of our members are the ones that earn this gear this week, right? They would have like a system in place that would let you go, you get this new piece of armor, or you in pugs pickup groups. Generally, you all, it's all free for all, right? You'll all roll for the gear, but they usually dole out enough that like at least a quarter of the raid gets new stuff. Right?
How are they being the people who set and decide whether gear gets to people? I don't understand that. It's
The
confusing.
guild or raid leaders.
Yeah.
So if you're rolling with a guild that you roll with, generally they'll take note of the members and who's going to be in the raid team, and then this is like, I'm talking like back in the WoW days when I used to do like raids and WoW. Yeah.
I don't know how any of this works.
So yeah, like they usually did something called like loot master, and the leader of the raid would end up being the controller of who gets the loot at the end. And they would usually, like, you would get,
So the
like,
game gives them the
member
permission to designate this.
right. So there are different ways. WoW used to have different, or still does probably, it has different ways that determine how the raid's loot is given. Loot master was one of them, or greed versus need, which is like you roll need if you need the gear, you roll greed if you don't really need it but you still want a piece of gear out of it, and then the game will prioritize the roll for need over greed, right? And then you do a dice roll 1 through 99. Whoever gets the higher number gets that. That's the need greed system.
Okay.
And then the loot master system is the leader will go, okay, so Jimmy, you've been here the longest, you've been in the most raids, you've earned this many points because you've helped us out and complete these raids the most. So guess what? This week you've earned the piece of gear that we get in the raid. Over time, they've actually corrected a lot of this and made it so everyone will get a token by the end, like, or some form of token system, which after a while of accumulating, you go to a vendor in town and then you can just buy the gear the raid gear that you want, right? So they have many different forms and ways of doing this. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't go too long in this explanation.
No, I was trying to understand it because it is designed dramatically. I'm playing an MMORPG in Claim, but to me, it sounds like this game is not designed, and maybe I don't know about that other side of it, but it doesn't sound like it's designed, because all loot in Elder Scrolls Online is not unlike Skyrim in that it's individual to the player. So it's like there's no way there could be a raid or guild party leader in Elder Scrolls Online, to my perception, that would earn. And believe me, I don't play in those crazy events, right? Because I don't really have a party of people to play with. But I don't. Maybe there's some form of gear that is above, when you go into those events that people earn that I'm not aware of. You know what I mean? That's not even on my radar because I didn't even know it was a thing, right? But the perception I got of this game is everyone gets their own individual loot, and I don't know how somebody could ever measure what loot I'm getting because I'm killing shit and there's the loot, and I get it.
You'd have to keep track of it outside of the game. That's like the point of like having
what Neo seems to be explaining to me is that if you join these certain big parties, like there's party-specific gear that's dropped to the party, and the party leader receives it and can divvy it to people. Is that the impression you're giving me, Neo?
Yeah.
And that kind of system might exist in Elder Scrolls, but I've never been invited into a guild to do it, so I don't even know what that's about. And maybe that's why people play it. But the side of the game that I'm playing is solely individual. Like, all the shit I'm getting is rewarded to me on an individual basis, and I'm happy with that. Like, I don't need to go to any other part of the game. And I'm also not even playing the PvP side of the game at all, Like, I've never played
You're just there for the story content.
I don't even know. I don't even know what the reason, the meta would be for wanting to play the PvP, other than wanting to kill other people. But like,
the competitive nature of it, right?
Yeah, the competitive nature of it. But anyway, I just thank you for explaining that to me. But anyone in the chat who might have a little bit more insight on Elder Scrolls Online and like if they have a system like that built in,
talk to KJ Lewis honestly, because he has been playing the game.
But
He's probably
Did you see him playing with other people, Trip Zero, when you saw him playing? Or
I did not. It looked like he was just playing by himself, honestly.
Right. He didn't have like a party with him. Because I think the default for a lot of people with this game is don't play with other people, just play alone. And the zone guides are evidence of the fact that they recognize that as a real thing, and they want to organize that play style for the people who play that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Anyway.
funny though, since we're talking about MMOs playing solo, the Old Republic did a really cool thing because it was made by BioWare, and it had BioWare like cutscenes, right, where you make choices and you could do good or evil stuff, and it had fully voiced cutscenes where you could make all the response choices. But if you're in a party, it gives the option for all players to choose something, and then the game kind of like rolls who gets to actually say the line, and then
wow.
you actually get and you get like experience certain types of like morality experience as you make choices through those conversations. So it was a way to like kind of be like, well, I can play this solo, or if I'm in a party in a group of people, they can all be involved in my story, which was kind of nice. I like that idea a lot.
That's cool.
So little side note there.
All right.
Miss
Well,
that game.
I'm done.
Cool.
I'm gonna take my
There you go.
headphones off and just leave now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm a lot shorter than Felix.
Sorry. I fucking
Finished Uncharted 4. It's okay. I finished Uncharted 4, and it was again quite a nice ride. It's a great great romp.
Did you get to the point that I said at the end of that where I was annoyed?
Yeah, the sword fight.
Yeah, I fucking hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it.
I fucking hate that.
It's flashy and cinematic though. Like I appreciate that. It's very pretty.
Pissed me off. But I was once again I was playing it on crushing. So
Yeah. I was playing on normal baby mode, but whatever. It was great. I wanted the movie experience. I got the movie experience, so I was happy.
Yeah.
Finished that. I was like, what else am I gonna play now? Okay, well I started up Monster Hunter on PC. Quail and we crushed the main campaign again. Now we're in Iceborne, and just playing it on PC now. We're starting over with the loot grind. Like it's pretty much what we've been doing there. And then I've also been playing more Valorant, which has been a good time. I'm getting better at it. Feeling pretty good about it.
Grind, I hear.
It is most definitely a grind.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the game a lot. Like I really love everything that game offers. Like the competitiveness, the hypersensitive shooting, and the slow nature of it, the strategy, like all of that really jives with me. It really jives, and I love that we have a group of people that we play with, and that makes it a lot more fun.
I think that's you, Locke, Channing, and Jay primarily, or is it
a lot of people? We got Jedamame, Vital, Twitty. He's been joining in.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Vital's
Dude,
playing.
Vital is real. He's like probably the best of us.
Yeah, Vital's not. Yeah.
And last night I was playing with Mike from Lunar Castaways, Quail, and Jay. We were all in a group last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a Nimbus is in there sometimes too. We get him in there. It's a great time. We got a good party going. Yeah, the best, not the last of us, the best of us. Also, I restarted my save file in Final Fantasy 12. I'm like halfway through that game, and I just picked it up and jumped right back in. I was like, cool. My characters are already programmed with their gambits, so I'm just like, just fucking go. Let's just see the story. It's fun to play on Switch. That's been in my in-bed game.
Well, yeah, we've been talking about that, and that for me is Final Fantasy X.
That's why I want to finish 12. I was like, I cannot let myself start 10 until I finish this game that I started.
Yeah, that's the problem, dude. They're all so long, and then like you hop like back and forth between all of them because you realize like, oh man, I think I want to do this one instead. Like I'm in the middle of 9, of Final Fantasy 9. Like I have not. Maybe I just did. I think I just left the main continent for the first time in 9 on the Switch playthrough, which is like maybe halfway. I feel like it's not even halfway. I feel like it's early on in the game, kind of still for how long the game is, you know? But like I haven't pushed it since because I was like, I feel like doing something else. That's the problem with having so many options portably, especially when it comes to the Final Fantasy entries.
I think it's so funny too because you crushed Final Fantasy VII, the classic Final Fantasy VII. You just crushed it, and I was very impressed by it.
The back of my hand, dude, literally.
In
and out.
I was surprised at how fast you were like at breakneck pace through that. It was insane.
Rushing right through it, man.
But yeah, like 12 has been my in-bed game, and I will finish it eventually and start 10. I'm literally just waiting for Ghost of Tsushima, which I will do like a 10-hour stream on Friday. I'm probably going to start early and play that all day. Nice. So if you want to come and check it out, Trip, and see what the hype's all about.
My plan is to watch people playing this game.
Yeah. So like, before we transition to news, let's talk about your infamous tweet this morning that I was like, what? What? All right, go ahead. Explain yourself, Trip.
Well, we've chatted on the show and off the show and around the show, just in general, about how like we're all excited for this game, you know? And for the most part, I'm still interested in it, and I'm excited to see what it looks like, how it's received. Watching streams, obviously, it's a big part of that. But I think I might skip it at launch.
Now, why specifically? Go into like your thought process. I mean, like, look. Before you do that, like, I'm not trying to like be like, you gotta play this game, man. I'm not trying to like do that. But
I know it wouldn't matter one way or the other. Like,
no, it wouldn't.
Some really good, compelling arguments, of course. But like, I feel like we'll have that discussion after the game's out when I can be actionable about it. Where I can see this stuff in practice or have someone show me, one gameplay mechanic versus another. But the long and short of it came down to reading a ton of reviews about the game, and they all said essentially the same thing, and people's opinions about those things were slightly different, right? So it was pretty good to find like the consistency behind all of the ways they were describing it, whether it was good or what was bad, because that's not what I care about. I'm not going to be influenced by that. But there was a common thread that this game, while beautiful, while gorgeous, while innovating slightly in some kind of gameplay indicator ways, like we talked about how the wind guides you through the world instead of like a little waypoint for like an open world adventure.
Also, another thing that happens is if you're on your horse, a bird will swoop in and kind of guide you like as you're riding to like special locations. Like it'll just
like the world around you kind of lives and breathes and guides you essentially, and that's cool. It's still a very cool concept. My worry is that at the end of the day, that it's not going to go enough away from a new experience in terms of like an open world, semi-silent, protagonist-driven exploration game where you have a lot of shit to do and you move through areas, kind of knocking things off a checklist until you get through the end of the game. I could be oversimplifying it, but there were some concerns as I read this that it's not going to do enough new.
So I think for me, one of the standout things, because like everything you're saying is right. Like it is in some ways a cookie cutter like open world game that we're all familiar with in a lot of ways. I think for me the standout is A, the presentation of it, and B, one thing that I've noticed all the reviewers are saying is the combat is something that never gets tired. Like you never get tired of being a samurai and doing the combat. And the combat has a crunch. It has a good feel to it. Everything's weighty. And those are really important things. Like God of War had that weightiness feel into the combat, which made it feel good the entire way through the game. This also has that. And among that, you can switch it up. Like you can become the ninja, the ghost. And then your combat will shift from the honorable samurai who faces his opponents head on and in a honorable fashion to a more ninja-like dishonorable style of like stealth and that's that thing. And you get all kinds of weapons surrounding that and all kinds of gadgets and whatever. But I think those are like probably the main appeals to me, like being the samurai and doing those things. The standoffs, the boss fights, like they all look very cinematic and flashy. Another appeal I have that's standing out to me.
Yeah, I mean that's the tough part because the game I know is going to look gorgeous, and I know it's probably going to have some amazing visual experiences across the board. But I don't know if that plus combat is going to do it for me. Like I don't know if I need or want to play that kind of game right now.
Yeah, fair.
Was it my other observation? Was it close on that? Like I made 2 observations prior to the show about why I thought.
I just remember the one you mentioned that.
Is it the PlayStation template of game design?
We talked about that. He clarified on that. He doesn't necessarily think of that. No, the other thing I suggested was that when we were talking about Kurosawa films, that it's a Western game. You speak very passionately about games that are in the JRPG vein. Like you can't stop talking about them. There's nothing tired about them to you. Sure. Even though to me, as an outside observer, when I look at all the games you play, every single game type to me observably just looks the same, right?
Right.
With all the flashy animation and the bright colors and the turn-based systems and that kind of stuff.
Definitely I don't want to sound like I'm a fucking weird gamer because I do like shit that's mainstream and stuff. But like the things that make me like a game are not the most common things I think as to why people like games. Like a game's music and score will go so far in keeping me in the game or making me want to just play it and once and be done with it. Literally, like the worlds and the design of the levels, the planets, wherever something happens and takes place, right? Like, I don't care if it's the same exact game. A visual element might stick out to me in one game versus another, and it'll make me want to play that game 1,000% more than the other game, even if they're exactly the same mechanically.
Right.
Like that's a big deal to me as well.
I do think this game has all those pieces that would appeal to you.
Well, it does, but
the music versus the visual style versus the game, like the gameplay.
Those things are all going to be there. But at the end of the day, I'm going to need to enjoy playing the game, and I don't know if I will, from what I've read, based on the potential for this to be a same open world exploration with a very, very nice skin, very beautiful sounding, very beautiful looking. But like, if I'm just knocking off objectives off a map, upgrading my weapons, going to the next story mission, I've done that tons of times.
All right.
And I'm gonna need to know that this is like a unique experience.
All right, I got it. I'm gonna do it. I'll buy it. I'll play it. I'll play it, and I'll.
You're already playing it though, right?
I'll play it live so you can watch it, and then decide later.
As of a week, we're all gonna just be playing this game live.
But you don't have to now. I got it. This is me. I'm gonna play it. Won't be till Monday for me. You can watch.
I too will be playing it on Friday.
You can watch Neo stream. I'll take one for the team though. I'm taking one for the team this time.
I appreciate your sacrifice, dude. You're actually just such a selfless human, and I appreciate you right now more than I ever have in my entire life.
Yeah, I think my stream playing it, if I'm going to do a stream, will be Monday morning. That's my It's gonna happen
all weekend.
Monday morning because I got a busy weekend.
Off this game by any means. I think I'm off of it in the launch period. Andy tweeted at me and made a really good point that he's waiting until the PS5, and I thought, that's not a bad idea.
Or like a PC launch eventually? Would that ever happen, or is it exclusive?
I think it's with a Sony exclusive. It probably wouldn't. But then again, Horizon Zero Dawn came out years after the fact, so who knows?
So one thing that I've usually been hammering on is Ubisoft's style of cookie cutter games have been getting to me often, and this is actually going to be a pretty good segue. We don't have to segue yet. It's fine.
Sure.
But I do get very tired of the sameness that Ubisoft has with all most of their games. Even with the revisions that Assassin's Creed has gone through over the years, I still get very tired of performing those tasks over and over. And they generally take the same ideas and then transplant them into other games with other mechanics, like Watch Dogs with the phones. Assassin's Creed, you get it's melee combat, you're climbing things, it has the things that stand out. But for Ghost of Tsushima, it seems they've put a lot more hard work into the world and into the way that their game is going to feel. Now this is talking as someone who hasn't touched the game yet,
right?
But to me, a lot of that stands out to me, just looking at the presentations and even watching the reviews. Like we brought up Skill Up earlier before the show. He is someone who generally doesn't care for the Ubisoft formula. He points it out. He doesn't really jive with it. He liked Odyssey, but to a point. He liked it to a point. But for this, he generally was I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima because it does these things all very well, almost like in a Witcher style, but more accessible, right?
He already played it.
Yeah, he has completed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He completed all of Ghost of Tsushima?
Correct. A lot of these reviewers have already done it.
How long is the game?
30, 40 hours.
Cool.
Yep. But yeah, so we're looking forward to it, and please tune into Felix and I's stream.
Yeah, I'm going to be checking it out. Sure. I mean, in my brain right now, this is probably wildly inaccurate. I need to know how it's different than the template of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a lot different than that.
I think it will too, but I need to see it, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Because from what I've been hearing about the things that you do, it sounds like Japanese Assassin's Creed, which I would have wanted years ago. But it's got to sell it to me a little bit more now.
For me personally, I want a samurai Kenshin game where I can be the samurai, be the lone warrior,
Yeah, what was that one back in the day? It was maybe on Bushido Blade.
Shido Blade. That was a fucking game, dude.
I think I remember
That was like
loving that.
it was a fighting game that was like a one-hit kill. It was like you performed your strike. If you did it right, you win. Like it was beautiful, gorgeous. I love that game. They should make another one of those. That'd be amazing. This game feels like that in some ways because a lot of those hard-hitting moves you can finish in one hit, and that feels like the samurai style to me.
But both of you were talking about like when games don't really or like with Ubisoft with the copy and paste that they seem to do between their games and everything like that. I was watching, we're getting ready to segue into talking about like their event, and I was watching like a 10-minute video to summarize some of the stuff I missed from the event. So I watched a 10-minute video. They show me all this like quick clips of the Watch Dogs Legion shit, and I was like, oh yeah. And then like because it was a condensed clip by like a third-party organization or whatever, they immediately went into this other game that's like a multiplayer game with hacking, right? That you might have the name of it. I didn't even pay attention because
it's not related to Watch Dogs.
No, this is the crazy thing. In this quick, crazy edit, these two games look like they copied and pasted everything into multiplayer format because the other game, whatever that's called, that they're coming out with, Hyperscape, is that what it's called?
It's a new battle royale game that just came out.
So this game has like,
it's a battle royale, yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew that, but like the way you were describing it didn't seem like a battle royale.
Yeah, you do get hacks in the game because the entire game takes place in a virtual world.
Right.
Yeah. Well, now that you mentioned that,
so I see this and I go, wait, is that?
It seems interesting enough.
I was like thinking, is that DLC for fucking Watch Dogs Legion? Like, what the fuck is happening right now? This seems too similar. It looked like there was
Ubisoft property.
Yeah, it looks like there were hacking animations that looked like they were copied and pasted right from fucking Watch Dogs. Like I'm watching this and I'm going.
Sometimes, especially the pandemic, you work in a studio, you just fucking send your hard drive over to someone else, dude. Wireframes, why not, dude? It's a lot of work out here, and we fucking come on. Friday.
It like makes me think of a few years ago, which I think you posted this as one of the news points, but like the Ubisoft comes out with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and then they're like, "Yo, let's make a multiplayer ship game called Skull and Bones for the people."
Which I do have a news article on.
You have a news article on that.
Yeah, let's just jump right into the Ubisoft stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, they had their Ubisoft Forward this weekend. Do you guys want to talk about what they didn't talk about first?
Yeah, go for it.
So like a day or two before, there was this whole thing. Here, I'm gonna bring up the article here. Boop. Top Ubisoft executives are out amid allegations of company-wide misconduct. I'm not gonna say, I can't even say these people's names because it's all very. From the Yanis Mallet, the head of the Canadian studios, are out effective immediately, as well as he was and a guy named Haskote. It's got one of those two dots above the E.
Just do your best.
Sorry,
Your best. Okay.
He was responsible for overseeing Rayman, Assassin's Creed, and The Division, and he's also now out. And he's the French newspaper Libération publicized allegations of enabling misconduct by high-level executives. Now, I'm trying to find where it says what the misconduct is. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing what it is. Is it embezzlement? Is it sexual abuse? Is it?
I think this is related to the sexual abuse stuff that went down a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, I'm honestly not. They're not actually coming out and saying it. Sorry, guys. They're not saying what it was.
We don't have to dig back down too deeply, but I do remember them not dealing with that really up front.
Yeah, they tweeted on the 12th, and that was before. When was the Ubisoft thing? That was on Sunday, which was, sorry guys, I'm setting a timeline down. That was the 12th as well. They tweeted that day, it looks like, wow. In the morning, Ubisoft Forward comes during a big time of internal change. Because of all the content that has been pre-recorded, we want to recognize that the issues we are currently dealing with won't be addressed directly in the show. We will still have significant work to do and are committed to this process, and we will provide more updates soon. That's all it said. That was their tweet. And a lot of people were pointing out that they didn't use their own hashtag, which they had been using the whole week, like hyping people up for their event. And then they just
got a lot of attention to it.
Yeah.
To be honest, those could also be two different departments who are dealing with.
No, same account.
It's
Yeah.
Oh, same account. Got it.
Well, here's the thing.
Shitty.
You want people to watch your Ubisoft event, right? You want people to see your games that you're showing. What you don't want everyone to know is all the bullshit that's happening in your company. And a lot of people probably won't see that tweet. A lot of people who don't care. The people who will see the Ubisoft announcements will see the Far Cry, the Watch Dogs. They'll see all the good stuff. They won't happen to come across this. That's just generally how social media works, right? That's how word of mouth gets traveled.
That
Right.
fucking game company is gaming their social media.
Pretty much. They get it, right? Like these are PR statements that are well crafted and whatever, and they.
Oh yeah, it's literally their job, dude. Yeah.
So like I get it, and at the same time I'm like, well, still shitty, guys. But anyway, that's that. You guys have any thoughts on that, Trip?
But
Felix?
but it is a statement that's declaring that the people that were having issues
Are gone.
are gone. So
The point is, it's positive in terms of, are they doing something, especially with their high level leadership? Yes, they are. But it also seems pretty convenient as well to not address this until after your big event was done. Maybe to not
No, I thought you said it was before the big event.
The event, all this happened before the event, but they didn't address it directly before the event. They also didn't call attention to it the way they could have by, like Neo said, using their hashtag that people were using to talk about the upcoming event and to generate traction for this. It seemed like they did a little bit of they didn't brush under the rug because they're acknowledging it, but they just didn't do enough spotlighting until it was guaranteed not to kind of fall back on their event in any way. That's the part that's a little bit a little bit of a yikes.
A little bit, I'd say. But yeah, after that, we got to see their event, and in their event, just moving on.
Moving on.
This I find really interesting, Felix, because you were a fan of the Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's what it was called, I believe, right?
I was a fan of Wildlands, and then I got the second one, whatever that was called.
They had a trailer before their full
really.
show. Yeah, I mean, well, look, that game was very poorly received.
Breakpoint was
Breakpoint. Yeah, it was very poorly received, and it had a lot of problems, which I know that they acknowledged and they are working on. They showed off a trailer for AI Teammates, a feature that was in Wildlands. Sorry, that just blew my mind.
What's it called again?
AI Teammates.
In what?
In Breakpoint.
I didn't even see that. That wasn't in the 10-minute video.
It wasn't in the forward of it. It was like their pre-show. It was one of their things in the pre-show.
It's like, we know you loved AI Teammates. We're gonna bring them back. I mean,
yeah, it's weird.
It's fine and everything, but the game did essentially have something that met the need of AI Teammates. It was more drone support. Like the drone did the work of the AI Teammates. Before it was like, you're here, you're alone, but you have two guys. You go to set up your shot, which is like a sync shot, is what they call it.
Yeah.
So
which I was a cool feature. I like that.
Yeah. So you set up your sync shot, and then the people who do the extra shooting are the dudes that are with you. In fucking Breakpoint, the exact same mechanic is there, except it's just the drone. The drone does it.
Very cool.
So did they think we needed that? People were pissed.
Innovating, man. Leave them alone.
Let me tell you the fucking AI teammate mechanic that they needed to fix, which I guarantee in this update is not going to be motherfucking fixed. Okay,
lay it on us, buddy.
The AI teammates need to know how to drive the truck. That's the problem with Ghost Recon Wildlands.
I wouldn't guarantee
Those
that.
fucking AI teammates, I would always get in, and I'm in the passenger seat, and then they don't drive. And here's what's crazy. Then they come out with Far Cry 5, and they added to Far Cry 5, which is a different studio within Ubisoft. It's a completely different company, essentially. These studios kind of, as we talked about, work in their own vacuums, right? Trip, didn't we talk about that?
To some extent, I would say.
Yeah, to an extent. So Far Cry 5,
they all share climbing towers and
right? well, Far Cry 5 was a little bit on the fringe because they made fun of the tower climbing thing and didn't really have towers. So, like, your first mission in Far Cry 5 is you go to climb a tower, and the guy goes, I know you've been climbing a lot of towers over the years. I'm not going to make you do this more than just now. It's really high. And that's like the dialogue within Far Cry 5. I love Far
If
Cry
you
5.
can climb a tower and Ghost of Tsushima, I swear to God, I'm out.
You're out.
Yeah.
Just done.
But
I'll let you know, Trev. Don't worry.
So I play hours upon hours. I complete all the achievements in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and then lacking this mechanic of the AI people just driving for me, so that I can be in the car and shoot out the window. That's what I want. Very next game I get to is Far Cry 5, and it's fucking there. The mechanic is there. You get into a Jeep and you're in the passenger seat. The person with you who's on your team, because they had like this thing where you could like have two people who followed you who were like, one. Well, actually, you could have animals too, which is really cool.
Very Metal Gear Solid 5, by the way.
Yeah, so which probably was ripped from Metal Gear, because I think that came out before Far Cry 5.
Who's to say?
But yeah, the coolest animal mechanic was this giant bear named Cheeseburger.
Oh yeah, I've heard about
So you could have
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger as a companion, and he attacks shit. It was a lot of fun. But anyway, so then the mechanic was there, man. Like, literally, you would mark a location on the map, and you would just hit this button that made them it was called auto drive, and it would make the AI companion drive for you, and you could shoot out the window in first person. It was great in Far Cry 5. And then Breakpoint comes out, and they just their answer to the complaint I had was get rid of the AI companions entirely.
Well,
so now I have to drive every vehicle.
In general, with Breakpoint, from what I gather, because I
there was
refuse
a lot of issues. Yeah,
in a whole, they took a massive step back in what Ghost Recon and pretty much any game would innovate forward. Right? They added a gear system that didn't really matter. Right?
Totally.
That was
didn't matter.
utterly pointless, just for the sake of having it. Didn't matter.
No.
They took away the AI teammates. They took away a lot of physics that just were broken at launch. They added a social hub for a game that you're supposed to be a solo operator in, right?
It made no fucking sense, dude.
Like a lot of the game was just like a contradiction on itself.
Dude, you walk into this Trip Zero, you walked into this social hub, and this is the fucking thing that was most ridiculous about it. Everybody who starts the game brand new starts with the exact same outfit. You couldn't customize anything from the beginning. Nothing was unlocked. So you load into this space, and it's the same exact soldier. Like, 60 soldiers that all look exactly the same, except for maybe one has a mohawk and another one has more of a mutton chop.
Right.
It was so bad. It was that moment when you realized that you are just a number,
Well, you know what the social spaces in these games are for, right?
No.
They let other people show off what they have, whether that be through the gear that they've earned or gear that they've purchased.
Not in this game, because everyone looked exactly the same.
But eventually you won't. Like, eventually you'll get the cool sniper rifle or the cool face mask or whatever it can be. Destiny does the same thing. It's literally, granted, like it's a hub space, right? Like, you get your missions and stuff, but they let you see the other players.
Any game, any MMO game, the Division 2, Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 11, World of Warcraft, you're looking at like the weapons they have equipped, and then you'll know, oh, that guy did that activity. Oh, that guy got that gear. Wow, that's a rare drop. Like the person on a mount in like an open world MMO, like someone in Final Fantasy running through the map on like that, like the car that they put in the game from Final Fantasy 15 that you could have three of your other friends, you could drive around your friends in the game. They'll go, oh, they did that event. They were there at that point in time, which is kind of the allure for that stuff. You want to like
two examples,
entire like worth to like what you've done.
Two examples from Fallout 76. I know you guys hate it, but I'm going to bring it up real quick. Kyle, right, and Splorence, okay? So Kyle has bought the store, and he made, he's from Ireland, but he made this super duper American house. Like his perception of American living. Like he made this, you go there, So there's something, I don't even know when you could have gotten this from the Fallout store, but there is this super American statue, which is like the power armor suit, like on his knee. You know what I mean? Like big bronze and iron. You can buy this at one point, and you put it in front of your house. And like when you walk up, you press a button on it, and a giant nuclear bomb explosion blows up around you. Doesn't hurt you. It's for complete dramatic effect. This is the statue's dramatic thing that it does.
Right.
So Kyle has this like positioned in front of his like American house that has a giant American flag. Like pretty much all of Fallout 76 world is the social hub because that's how people behave in it. They get goofy shit from the Adams store and then they wear them. Like the second example is Splorence. He's always wearing like a 3-piece suit and then the giant like head, you know, like the Fallout Boy head.
Yeah.
Right. He's wearing that. And he's running around
the event where everyone was wearing like the bear outfit.
That was that was a group of people online who were trolling people by wearing the bear hat and like pretty much nothing else and just standing and staring at you with the bear hat. Like it was super creepy.
I'd be upset if I saw that.
Yeah. And then they had the Fastnacht event, which was essentially an attempt to collect like 30 different types of masks, like weird masks that you could wear. And there's no plans for these. You can't get them ever again. If you scrap them from your inventory, you got to wait until Fastnacht again, whenever that happens next year or whatever. So like people like pride themselves on getting these masks because each time Fastnacht comes around, they're going to be rare and different and unique, and people are going to want to show them off. And you know, Fallout doesn't have a social world, but it has it is a social world.
A social world.
Yeah. So.
Right. Well, I'm sure you can look at that and go, oh, I know that person was there, you know, in 2019, 2018, or whatever.
Yeah, and they're being pretty clever with that because there's certain like that statue thing that Kyle has that doesn't exist in the store. I don't know when it'll even come back to the store, you know. But Kyle bought it. He was like, I snatched that right up because it's so amazing, and it is. I don't know where I would put it. I don't think it would fit. Oh, the most recent thing that they added to the store, which was actually surprisingly cheap. They added, you remember the Red Rocket gas station?
Yeah, I do.
They added the whole thing. You could just, for 500 atoms, you could buy a Red Rocket gas station. Yeah. And build it in your base, which was
interesting.
Super, super weird. Anyway, side note.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, so that's a thing. Breakpoint.
Well, if you would have told me we would have spent this much fucking time on Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I would have not been on.
Yeah,
the show.
I did want to move on, but that is okay.
I'll shut up, Neo. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, man. Love you long time.
Love you long time.
So the show actually kicked off with Watch Dogs Legion. It actually opened with a really, really well done filmed. It was like a CG film project that was actually really cool. If you guys haven't seen this, you should watch it. It's got a lot of cyberpunk vibes to it. A very well animated thing. It's not game related. Well, it's like not gameplay related, but I liked it. I thought it was a really cool, like, cinematic thing for them to do. I know we generally are like cinematic whatever, but it was a very well done piece of animation. So I thought that was pretty cool. But then they showed off the gameplay trailer, and they actually went into a little bit of how the game works. Did you guys happen to get to watch this stuff?
Yeah, I watched that more than I watched anything else. I thought it was really fascinating.
Yeah, they went in. They actually, I saw a lot of post-show discussion because a lot of other reviewers have actually played 4 to 5 hours of this, and they talked about their experience. One of them talked about how they actually revised a lot of how the game was working from last year, whereas you would recruit people to your DedSec team, right? And then they would have their own levels and they would level up and stuff. And you could play their play style and make them better. But they scrapped all that. They scrapped the leveling system because what that ended up doing in their play testing was it forced, or not forced, but it kind of guided the hand of the player to only play the person that they wanted to, right? And play their specific games, their specific play style. So they scrapped it because they wanted to make the allure of playing all the different archetypes that they have in the game more appealing. And some of the archetypes they showed off was like a construction worker, and how the construction worker can just mosey into a construction site pretty much unnoticed and have tools associated with a construction job. He could summon a flying drone that he could like fly on and stuff. Pretty cool. They showed off the hacker with the drones, and she had like a spider drone she could use to get into certain areas. They showed off and this is my favorite, I'm gonna call this the John Wick, Cyber John Wick, and they actually had some really dope animations of how this guy like meleeed people with the in like gun mode, like kind of like throw them down, shoot them, and like do kind of like the John Wick thing. It's all pretty dope. What do you guys think of
this with anybody?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the wild part about the game. You can just be anybody. Like you're walking down a packed street in London and be like, that person seems cool with your little like, Watch Dogs phone scanny thing. I like what they're about. I'm going to play as them. And then that's your game. Or
You
that's
like
your game at that moment.
You get to see, like when you scan them, you get to see what skills they have, right? Like, oh, this person was a construction worker and can do all these things, or this person is like has all this experience working in tech, so they can hack better or do something like that. Like that's really pretty cool if they pull that off like really well.
On paper, all of this reads really well, but I've put a lot of hours into Ubisoft games, and I know when the copy and paste starts to be apparent. Like when you start realizing this is very similar to this, and like there's not as much variation as I thought there was when I first started playing the game. Very, very evident with all Assassin's Creed games. Eventually you get to the point where you're like, oh, I saw that guy come by here, before, and I saw this thing happen this way before. So I wonder.
Do you think they can pull it off?
Well, what? What's the question?
Do you think they can pull off the ability to make not every character that you can
because
recruit?
This is not a seeded game like No Man's Sky. They're not seeding the people into this map. It's not randomly generating like. I don't think so anyway.
Who knows right now? Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, for the construction worker template archetype. I like that word that you use there. For the construction worker archetype, how I'm in the world. I find this.
Grandma is also an archetype, by the way.
Grandma, a construction worker. I find these characters that are in this demo. First off, how many more archetypes are there beyond what they just showed me? And then,
they're keeping a lot under wraps for sure.
Right. Hopefully that's not the only archetypes you can meet in the city. And then the other thing is once I play it for, let's say, 30 hours or 40 hours, how many different variations on the construction worker that all do the same exact thing have I met? Did I meet a female one that does exactly what the male one does? You know what I mean?
You're going to run into the limits of the simulation, of course.
Yeah,
like it's, the game.
I'm not any less interested.
Here's the thing, like I wonder if there's going to be permadeath for your members. So that means like that you would have to recruit another construction worker.
It would force you to play someone else, which would be good, honestly. I think make you be careful about your decisions, but also force you into a different kind of gameplay if you lost one that you liked.
Yeah, and remember, so I played a game that seems like it has a similar design and structure. So State of Decay 2 is something where you meet people, brand new people. It randomizes names, it randomizes skills, it randomizes weapons they start with, and then that has permadeath in it. And this, this seems like it might function the same way. You build your party up and they die, and then you find another person in the world who might have. There might be enough variation on every single one of the characters that it keeps it interesting, because you never know what you're going to get. Because that's how it is in State of Decay 2. When you find a new person in the world, you never know what weapons they're going to start with that are already on their person. You never know what, like each one of them can come with like a specialty skill that's already there. Like some of them are inane. Like one of them's like knows a lot about sports, or like another one is like
how useless in the zombie apocalypse.
Right. Another one is like is a mechanic, like
more useful. There you go.
That's a useful one because you get that, and then you can set up a auto mechanic place. So I'd want to see like how much variation the game after 20 plus hours you get when you play it, But
yeah, for sure.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to play it. I'm still not going to pre-order that one. That's like not one.
Oh damn.
No. Because I haven't finished Watch Dogs 2. I won't pre-order that because there's a whole version of the game that a whole other game I haven't played.
So for people listening, we were people on PC were supposed to get free copies of this. I still have yet gotten my free copy of this for watching Ubisoft Forward. because I would like to try Watch Dogs 2 because I did not play that one. It looks pretty
2
cool.
was fun. 2 took place in
San
LA.
San Francisco. Yeah,
Oh, San Fran. Yeah, there we go.
it was fun. It's a fun city to be in.
Yeah, that seems really cool, and I liked all the parkour. It had a cool parkour thing going on, and
Well, the first one kind of did too. First one was Chicago. Second one was San Fran, and they both had this element of definitely like running on foot to escape and to climb and do kind of stuff. The cool thing that 2 did versus 1 was a lot more freedom in your play styles. Like, I mean, they did the drone. I don't think the drone was around in the first Watch Dogs. You would know better, Felix. Like, you did a lot of playing of that. There wasn't a drone, was there? Like
I beat the first one too.
I don't remember there being a drone.
There was like a flying drone. There was a car drone that all like you could drive the car into a place that you were infiltrating. It could actually like have a little like finger thing that could like touch keypads or like tap people's phones for you. So like you had a lot of more like
because it was a future with auto driving cars. That's what it was.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you could hack the auto driving mechanisms of cars and then drive them yourself, which is
Mhm.
Yeah, 2 did a good job of just expanding on all of that, which I hope they do even more.
no. My greatest concern was with the main protagonist story character who said a lot of things like, "I don't want to kill people. I don't want to kill people. I don't want to kill people," and then in the beginning of the game, you start off with no resources and no tools, and you have to earn them as you level up. And the problem with that is to get to that point, you have to kill a lot of people, and it contradicted the main message of the kid in the game.
Yeah,
Because he didn't have tools, but eventually when you level up, then you can do stuff in more of a stealth fashion. But until you get there, he has to kill everyone. I was just like, wait, this is contradicting the cutscene, like hardcore.
I heard somebody pretended that they were using rubber bullets in the game, like their own head cannon. They were like, "My character is using rubber bullets because it doesn't make sense for him to kill people." Yeah,
Yeah, right.
it was kind of interesting. But anyway, I think Watch Dogs Legion looks pretty interesting and pretty cool. Like no doubt, like I'm
very excited about it. Yeah,
generally pretty hard on Ubisoft, I know, but like this actually kind of appeals in some fashion.
got some new, cool, interesting like gameplay mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
What was our release date on that one?
The release date is October 29th.
Yeah, so that's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a fall game. I really don't. Do I?
Well,
just found you one.
Great.
Or Cyberpunk.
Oh, that's my fall game. Never mind.
There you go. I think everyone, and like what was coming out next to the next game we're going to talk about, Assassin's Creed, is out November 17th.
What's that like?
God,
is that a full week past?
It's like a few
Watch
days.
Dogs Legion.
I think what? No, it's no, from Cyberpunk. It's like the 19th is Cyberpunk, I think, of November.
Oh Jesus.
That sucks.
It's hold on, it's in my phone. It's dated in my phone here.
Save the date.
Correct. Yeah.
I literally will not touch Assassin's Creed, the Vikings Valhalla game, until I fucking completely finish the Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I can't believe you're not done that game yet.
It's just DLC. I am done.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
I completed that game in 100%.
Well, they showed off more gameplay for Valhalla. Did you like what you saw? Did you see anything on it?
Yeah, the most
You're the Assassin's Creed guy at this point, so
right. The most appealing thing, and like I said, I didn't sit and watch the whole gameplay footage thing that they offered. I just watched clips. The thing that is most interesting to me is the ability to gain resources and then build your camp, like build up your Viking village. I don't know if you're going to be able to choose where it is.
That reminds me of Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah,
where you built your.
You might be able to like build an army.
Whatever that was.
So good, man.
2 was great.
But this one, it looks like you might be able to build an army. There was some pretty cool weapons. I thought like
there was a lot of really interesting like ways to combat. I think you're about to say
dual wielding 2 shields at once.
They showed off like 2 shields being used like to it, like he was spinning around and attacking people with them. It was wild. So there's a lot of
what might be based on a real combat tactic by Vikings that I'm just not aware of. But that's really cool. I know their shields were just like Romans. They were incredibly important to them in battle, and that's
Oh,
I like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I've just shows I've watched like Vikings. That's illustrated the importance of the Viking shield.
Yeah, they showed an interesting little. Oh, I'm sorry, Neil.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna point out things I liked, like the curb stomp move, like the finisher.
Yeah.
They had the axe throwing ability where your character just threw a bunch of axes and
that looked great. That looked really good.
Yeah, I have the trailer playing next to me. I guess. Go ahead. Go keep talking, guys. It's fine.
The thing that is also to me fucking tired is I got more information about this whole like female male thing, and once again, it's still just one fucking story, which
I don't have a problem with it as much as you seem to.
they're proving the point that we keep making in the show that it is really hard to make a game that big and then also make two entire stories in a game that big.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Like
know what I mean?
even like in games like Cyberpunk, like I'm gonna probably play through a similar campaign, regardless of who I pick as my character, right? Mass Effect's the same way. Like I think I brought this up last time we talked about that. You know,
The only difference in this one is they're not trying to tie it to some brother sister relationship kinship type thing. Like in Syndicate, it's Evie and Jonathan.
they are two separate characters.
Right. In this one, they're not even trying to paw it off like they're separate characters. It's like the main protagonist is this. This is the main protagonist's name in this main protagonist story. You can make that person a female or a male. It doesn't really matter.
One thing that I also saw pointed out in all the press stuff after this, you can swap your gender or the gender of your character on the fly, like no matter where you are in the story. You
Just
can
right
just right there and be like, I'm gonna be the female Viking now.
They
And just do it.
seem to imply, but then not imply in the exact same statement that that's going to have an effect on the story. Like he's like, I don't want you to think that like I can't remember his exact quote, but it seemed like he was saying like, I don't want you to think that this is going to completely dramatically change the story, but it's kind of going to change the story if you do it. You know, can you find his quote? Like,
Where am I looking for that?
I don't know. It was in one of the
I don't think
articles.
That's going to be. Oh, was it in one of the articles?
It was in one of the articles that I was reading that you had posted, where it's a quote by like what the Ubisoft developer was saying. It might have been directly from the text of the script of not the script, but the transcript of what he was saying in the event. But we'll see what happens with that. Like I have no idea what's going on there. I was fascinated by the fact that like, like the minute I got to see like an extensive footage from it, I was just like into I want to be in that world and explore that.
It seems like the perfect Assassin's Creed for you.
Yeah, because I loved Vikings, and
Right.
now I'm mixing the two genres, bringing them together.
Mhm.
I mean, even the lead character, the female version of the lead character, looks a lot like the female Viking from the show Vikings. So it's like,
I did notice that too. Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but that actress is really awesome. Love her.
Yeah, and the whole raid, like a castle mechanic, seems pretty sweet. That
That's
seems
why,
very. Yeah.
like the town building part, where it looks like you're building your town. I'm wondering if, like, associated with that town can be the raising of an army, and then and ultimately when you go and fight that fight, you're taking in an army that you've raised. Like, if they added that takes me back to like when I was playing like PC games that had the ability to like raid castle walls, and there's a bunch of games that did that where you would have like this siege mechanic for taking down a castle, and it seems like that might be a really cool mini game that's built into the game, not unlike the conquest mini game that they had in Odyssey, where you would go out and fight a small skirmish between the fucking two rival factions in the game. What I can't even fucking remember at this point.
I don't remember either. Never
I can't even remember from Greek history who's the rival factions were. It was the Spartans and the God damn it, fucking blanking.
That's all right.
But yeah,
Well, either way, this game does look pretty cool. It's probably still going to be a pass for me because Cyberpunk comes out that week. So
Yeah, this is not going to do enough to pull me away from that, but it'll be.
yeah, it's definitely not a pre-order for me until I know that Assassin's Creed.
that to me is wild. That is wild.
It's not. If it's that close to Cyberpunk and it's fucking, it's just not. It's not going to be a pre-order. It's going to be a. Come on, man! I didn't pre-order and buy every single Assassin's Creed the minute they came out. If you do recall,
I could have swore you did.
no, if you do recall, Unity was not purchased until like a fucking year and a half later, dude. I did not buy Unity until a year and a half later.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Wow.
Syndicate, I didn't buy the day it came out either. Syndicate, I didn't buy.
Well, color me shocked.
I was still playing Odyssey. I didn't buy when it came out because I was still playing Origins, and I didn't buy Origins when it first came out because I was still playing fucking Syndicate.
And you were committed to those full playthroughs, so that's
I'm
why.
committed to their full playthrough, and if they want me to buy a game the day it comes out, they need to make sure they make a game small enough that I can finish before their next one comes out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of games that might pull you toward them, what did you think of the world premiere trailer of Far Cry 6? We don't have that information, but
I've already shouted out one of the best Ubisoft games I've ever played, which is Far Cry 5. I'm blown away by the animations in this. It was a gameplay cutscene. That's what it looks like. That's a cutscene probably from the middle of the story.
or yeah, in-game CG, something like that. Yeah.
It definitely looks like. Well, that's how good the in-game cutscenes looked in Far Cry 5. I mean
it looked really good.
way
Like it.
yeah, this looks better than, but that's almost the like this is like beyond what they did last year or the year before that with Far Cry 5. Yeah, and I'm actually fascinated with the subject matter. I mean, like I'm a big fan of like revolutionary states.
Yeah, it's based on
What
like
did I
a
just say?
Cuba.
Yeah, it seems like it's a Cuban thing. But no, like I love the show Narcos, and I love the drama that's associated with South American cultures that are in like turmoil, governmental turmoil, and like all that shit that goes down with that stuff. It's all fascinating. It's a fascinating read.
Yeah. What do you think of Giancarlo Esposito playing the main villain?
Well, so the thing that's most interesting is the fact that Michael Mando played fucking Voss.
Mhm.
And Michael Mando was in Better Call Saul with Giancarlo Esposito. Like,
Yep.
So I'm thinking in my head either they have the same exact agent or Michael Mando
So
and
let me
Giancarlo
tell you.
Esposito are talking on set, and he says, "I was in a video game." Well, he's like,
hang on, Felix.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation that the kid in this trailer is a early Voss, which is that actor you're speaking of is played Voss in Far Cry 3.
Right. Michael Mando played Voss in Far Cry 3, and you're thinking that the kid in this is Voss?
A lot of people are speculating that because the scar on one of his eyes actually matches with Voss's.
Oh shit! Did that?
So-
Then maybe even that cutscene is a prequel to Voss.
That's, people are saying that. So people are speculating. Yeah,
Wow,
that this kid could be connected to that.
that's great. I'm down.
Yeah.
But once again, cutscenes are great. Game looks cool. I'm not gonna like vote in on whether this game is great. I did pre-order.
I'm gonna tell you, it'll probably play like a Far Cry game.
That's what I'm saying. I did pre-order Far Cry 4 and got it the first day. I did pre-order Far Cry 5 and get it the first day. My guess is Far Cry 6 I'm going to have pre-ordered, and I'm going to get that when it comes out. And that comes in February of 2021.
February 18th.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the biggest problem with what they do with Far Cry games is a lot of copy and paste, like literally one island map. And then when they come out with DLC for Far Cry, it's the same exact map all over again. With the same...
New Dawn did the same thing. I think they copied the 4 map and redid a lot of assets on it. That's like, I think that's what they did for that.
So,
honestly, I've only played 3, beaten it, and I started 4. Like I legitimately like started 4, and I was like, I'm literally playing the same game again.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 4
I think I dipped.
Well, here's the thing. 4 seemed too much like 3, exactly what you're saying. 5 did vary a lot. You know, the fact that there were 3 different antagonists that you could play against who offered 3 different stories, and you could choose what direction in the world you went to fight them. So it looks like they're trying to change up their formula. It's not like one island where, like with Voss, where you just fight everything in the one island. So they did vary a little bit in the Far Cry 5 story. The Far Cry 6 story, I just hope it's not. The reason I'm reticent about it is only because the fact that it could be Cuba, but it could also be one island. That's the problem. Like, I don't know if I want to play in an environment that's just like the same one island environment again. You know, we'll find out.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was pretty much Ubisoft Forward. They headlined those 3 major games, and that was pretty much the extent of their show. It did seem a little light than from past years when with most E3 presentations they've had. No Just Dance, which they usually have a big dance number or whatever. Remember they usually do that.
We didn't mention Brawlhalla. And does anyone care about
I
that?
I skipped it because that was an acquired. They bought that game like a couple years ago, and that was like a free to play like Smash Brothers clone.
Yeah, it just looks like a Smash Brothers clone.
That's
first time I saw
that,
I think saw anything about that was I think me and you when we were at
PAX.
PAX.
We played that at PAX East. That's right.
That's where we saw that for the first time.
That was before Ubisoft acquired them. They were just an indie.
So that was just the indie game at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. They've come a far distance.
I mean, if I was Brawlhalla, I'd be like, yes, Ubisoft, please buy our game. We would love that. We would love to work with all of your vast amounts of resources.
What was interesting about Brawlhalla is that it looks like they're doing complete crossplay with it, so you can like play it on any machine that you have, and you're playing. And you don't have to buy it like 6 times, which is cool.
Yeah, and it looks like it's coming to mobile as well, and they added a bunch of their Ubisoft mascots in there, so that's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
They also announced a game called Elite Squad, which it just seems like it's Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, which is kind of like a cartoony styled mobile game. I don't even know what it is. It was just a CG trailer. Sam Fisher shows up and he broke my heart because we're not getting Splinter Cell. It's like
they're big trolling with that, dude. That's the only thing anybody wants. Honestly,
they're gonna keep putting him as a cameo in every fucking game. Like they did it with Ghost Recon Wildlands. They fucking.
Yeah, I would love a Splinter Cell game because right now we do have aside from like Hitman and like some of these other games, like we have a lack of like stealth gameplay, like tactical games like Metal Gear and the like. But yeah, that's it. That's the Ubisoft Forward, guys. What do you think, Trip, of the overall presentation of it and whatever?
I mean, I was really just kind of excited for the Legion gameplay. Yeah. I got that, and I'm kind of more excited about it at this point. So, that's cool for me. I'm very excited about that game. Watchdog is always a fun experience to play through. I was also interested in the Valhalla stuff, and it's cool to see actual mechanics and how the game's going to play out. And it's cool to see them return to some more like, stealth kind of traditional based Assassin's Creed gameplay options. Even though I'm probably not going to be playing it when it comes out, it's going to be a watch for me as well.
But are you still toting the narrative in your life of I'll eventually get around to all the Assassin's Creeds, or have you given up on them?
I would much rather Trip play the rest of Metal Gear Solid.
Because you proved us all wrong this year, Trip Zero. You proved us all wrong, Trip Zero, when you completed Last of Us just recently.
I know,
but that took 7 years.
Honestly, I know I'm forcing my opinions on a Trip right now, and I'm about to do it. But honestly, the quality of the Assassin's Creeds to me goes down over the years. Whereas,
I know,
Last of Us is a game worth revisiting and playing, as well as the Metal Gear Solid series.
The only Metal Gear Solid I haven't played is 5.
And you should do it. You should do it.
I know.
Eventually. Hey man, no rush. You got all the time in the world.
Yes, there are a lot of games. But to answer your question, Felix, I still have that as like a pipe dream in my brain. Like I'm not going to say no.
Old man playtime.
I'm always like, there'll be downtime. There never fucking is with games. But I'm like, there will be a moment where I'm like, I feel like finally finishing Unity, and then finally playing Syndicate, and then finally play, like just going through the fucking motions.
Well, you could do what I did, because it is possible. I determined it's possible until I got to Odyssey, which is a monster. But like, you can definitely just play the story in Unity, just play the story in Syndicate. I have no trophies unlocked in Syndicate because all I did.
Oh yeah, no, I do.
All I did was burn through that story.
I feel like I'm 80% of the way done Unity.
To be honest with you, the best story out of all of them, I think so far for me, is the Syndicate story. That was the best one. That had a nice twist at the end. I thought it was great. The Syndicate story is the best one. The game's janky, but you can definitely play through it and not waste your time on all the extra shit.
Oh yeah, and that's pretty much how I play those. I'm not at all a completionist for stuff like that.
And the thing that would let you down the most about Origins and Odyssey is the fact that they really aren't spending too much time on Assassin's Creed. Like all those memes that are like, what Ubisoft should do with Assassin's Creed? Play or design a game that's actually Assassins with a creed.
Right, exactly.
You know?
I mean, out of those two, I'd be more interested in playing Origins because I love Egypt and I love the environment and I would like to explore that.
That connects. There's loose connection there. Like they are the founders of the order, right?
Sure.
So-
But I was also one of the weird people that liked the modern day story. Like I liked the Desmond shit in Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and 3. And I'm like, I want more of that. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, dude, leave me alone. I want more fucking Desmond shit. Then he got killed off, spoiler alert. So
Yeah.
but yeah, like Origins and Odyssey being 100-hour games just to finish them, not even to like, not someone dicking around collecting all the shit just to finish them, dude. I got a limit. Surprisingly, I got a limit with certain games.
Yeah.
Like I didn't finish Persona 5. I trailed off that around hour 75 or so. I'm like, I fucking can't, man. Like,
Can't do it
I don't know.
anymore.
I don't
I'm
know.
with you.
We'll
Eventually,
see.
you just get fatigued. I get it.
Yeah.
I'd be really curious to do an Odyssey run through where I only play story missions, not any of the extra shit, and see what actually happens. Because I didn't play it that way.
Yeah.
Apparently, the game level gates you hard,
Yeah.
but that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
I
believe
think it's time to wrap it up, guys.
Yep.
We've had a nice beefy show. I'm gonna outro us. I've been Neo Ayoshi. You can follow me at twitter.com/Neo_Ayoshi, twitch.tv/Neo Ayoshi. This weekend I'll be playing Ghost of Tsushima. Please tune in and see some samurai action. Take it away, Trip.
I am Trip Zero. You guys can find me on twitch.tv/Trip0TV. All of my socials are also Trip0TV, so I'm very easy to find on the internet. I stream Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. We're currently playing Last of Us 2, and after that, I don't know. It was going to be Ghost of Tsushima the literal next day, or pretty much the minute if I finish midstream. But now I don't know.
Assassin's
what I'm
Creed
gonna-
Unity.
So stay tuned for that. You will know for sure. Go ahead, Felix.
And this is Felix Hergood. I'm at Felix Hergood on Twitter, and then I'm primarily when I come back and stream, which I think is going to be this coming Monday. I'm going to stream in the morning Ghost of Tsushima. It comes out on Friday, but I can't get to it until Monday. So I'm going to stream it on Monday, and you can check that out. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that game, so I don't know if I'm going to play it much after that. Probably what you're going to see me playing when I stream is Elder Scrolls Online. That's pretty much it, and maybe Fallout 76, but doubtful. I pretty much play that without other people. I don't know. I mean, I play without people watching. That's what I mean. Like I play it with a bunch of people, but
Okay.
I haven't been playing it live at all. So
Well, we'll see you next week, guys.
Later, everybody.
See ya.